Welcome to Rally the Tartans, where ancient echoes rise with every throw, where clans gather, steel meets stone, and the past walks beside us. We're lifting culture, throwing tradition, and celebrating the warriors, the history, and the heart of the Highland Games. I'm your host, Michael Paul Wolfgar Lewis. Let's rally the Tartans. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rally the Tartans, Season 1, Episode 5. And yes, I am a few days late coming out with this episode. Yeah, we try to drop everything on the 1st and the 15th, twice a month for consistency, and life got crazy for me. I apologize. We are having a fantastic football season. I forgot that our preconditioning for track and field starts during football season, so my coaching obligations are 24/7 is what it feels like these days. So no excuses. I definitely apologize, but that's why I wanted to get on here and make sure that I brought you this episode. Now, we will not be having a guest for this episode. That's okay. We have plenty to talk about, especially in our recap. Good Lord, the games got thick as a Cajun gravy. I don't know if Cajun gravy is thick. I know the gravy I make is pretty thick. So anyways, let's stop talking about gravy. Let's get right into it. Guys, the Highland Games are heating up. This is coming out tonight here on October 7th. So I am officially a week late. Somebody needs to find me. I don't know who. We can figure all that out later. But this weekend, I believe, coming up is going to be the Masters World Championship, which I am super excited to talk about, and we'll get into definitely after our recap. We have a large recap, probably the largest recap that we have done to date, because there are so many amazing opportunities in September all across the country. So we're going to be kind of bouncing around the country. And then again, like I said, we will make sure that we talk about the Masters World Championship that's going to be held down in Mississippi, in Brandon, Mississippi. Lots of ADs are putting in overtime and work. And just providing us with some great games and segments. Some folks that you've hopefully already heard on our show, like Kerry Overfelt, his NASGA Legends Masters National Championships went down, and we want to talk about those. And the Celtic Classic, which is just a major event in our culture, or excuse me, in our community. And then some newer games that are just becoming amazing, just amazing staples in the community. The Woodridge Highland Games and the Blue Ridge Championship had some fantastic folks. We're going to talk about some winners and some losers. Maybe not any losers, because nobody's really a loser here, but we're going to talk about some winners and some folks that you're going to hear on this show coming up in the future, very, very near future, the next couple of episodes, actually. So it's going to be an awesome episode. We are going to also kind of talk more about a history segment, because we missed that with the interview with Kerry Overfelt. That itself went over an hour. So I cannot complain. But we're gonna dive into the stone put tradition, where it came from, and kind of what's going on there, so we know, so we can talk about it, and so we can make sure that we touch on everything. But I do want to give a quick shout out. We do have a new show sponsor. You're going to start seeing me promote quite a bit. It's a guy that actually saved me financially after Hurricane Ian, so I can't thank him enough. Andrew Mullis State Farm, serving Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana. That is Andrew Mullis State Farm at 502-449-4300. Guys, reach out, get a quote, tell him Rally the Tartans sent you, so he knows it's coming back from us here. All the hard work he's put in helping me rebuild since the hurricane has been just fantastic of him. What a great office there. If you are an athlete and a thrower, make sure you ask him about the hospital income. That is something that I personally have and had to use when I hurt my bicep. So I'm just a fan of him and the products there at his State Farm. So somebody I personally use, just passing it on because he's now a show sponsor. So we want to give a huge shout out to him. Let's just get right into it though, man, because it is definitely time for us to talk about some games here in our world, what we have going on, guys. I cannot stress enough how amazing of a month September was. I am just disappointed in myself for not being able to get to all the games. Unfortunately, I am not a varsity coach. I am a freshman coach. So our games are on the weekend. So that leaves my travel abilities a little tight. And I don't get to get out to too many places. I missed NASGA on Saturday and then had something pop up on Sunday and didn't get out there. And I really wanted to because there were some amateurs I wanted to see. But let's just get right into it because it is a Masters Championship. So it was lined up with some of the older names around the community that have been throwing for a long time. And any of these folks that I mentioned today, man, make sure you reach out to them, talk to them. They're just a wealth of knowledge in what we do. I want to give a big shout out to the men's masters 50 to 54. Keith Berry took first place. And I normally am not going to talk about second or third or anything like that, but this is my show. And I want to give a huge shout out to Chris Chamberlain, and I apologize if I mispronounce anybody's names today, but just hearing a little bit about his backstory. This guy has beat cancer multiple times. I believe did radiation or some kind of medical treatment the day before he goes out to NASGA Legends and just crushes it and finishes third. Guys, that is amazing. We're going to talk about some adaptive athletes that took home the hardware and podiumed, this past month. Those type of people are what makes the Scottish Games. The people that are broken and beat up and tired and older, and they just keep going out there because of that competitive spirit. That is the Highlander spirit right there. So, Chris, way to go, young man. Thank you for being a champion and just getting out there to throw, even no matter what you face in life. That is awesome. Another huge shout out to the Masters lightweight men's 50 plus, Mr. Joel. And I've met this guy Joel a few times, so I'm gonna mispronounce his last name too. It's Kedemeyer. Kamer? I'm not sure, man. But guys, this guy is just such a nice individual. I've got to throw with him a couple of times myself. Just huge for the sport. And I hope you guys get out and meet these cats that we're talking about. Men's Master, 60 to 64. Eric Harmon took first. Amateur men, Jaden Menringer took first. Amateur women at NASGA was Madison Weinrich. And then somebody that you've heard on our show, a good friend of mine and one of our sponsors that we use here on the show. Lightweight amateur men, Jason Perfogel took first place. Him and his Iron Herd apparel, which you'll see us plug here after a little while. So, guys, Kerry is just a wonderful individual. He's a no BS kind of guy. He trains hard. Training is his business. He's written books about it. You guys heard him on our last show. Can't thank him enough. I want you guys to make sure to get out to his games next year. I will be attending probably in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 games next year is my plan. We are going to travel a little bit with this show so I can get some more on the ground interviews, some more footage myself so I don't feel weird taking anybody's footage offline like TikTok or Facebook or YouTube or anything like that, and integrating some reels into here so you guys can see the visual power that I'm talking about on the show. So make sure you guys get out to NASGA Legends next year. Go hang out with KO. He does the Masters on Saturday, and then they do the amateurs on Sunday. So it's a 2-day event. It's at a fantastic venue. And I think you guys will just really like what they put on the field out there. Now, another one that I'm a huge fan of that I have not been to yet, but I've heard talked about over the past year, because one of my favorite podcasts, Going Rogue, Jeremy, you haven't dropped an episode in a while. I'm jonesing for one. Come on, let's hear it. I would love to hear what you and Matt have to say about anything in the community. Big fan of that, but they are probably just busy putting on event after event. They did the Woodridge Highland Games and Blue Ridge Championship, and then I believe they also did a stone lifting competition there, which I'm going to have to just see if he would grace me with the honor of coming on the show so we can talk about how he's breaking into other lifting sports. But I mean, stone lifting has to be Scottish. It's kind of where we started are training at. If you look at the shot put, the Olympic shot put, its origins come from Scottish Highlanders and Lowlanders picking up stones and training with them so they could actually be prepared for battle. So the stone lifting competition has to be something that's super Scottish. I know there's the Denny stones and some other things. Maybe another topic for us to talk about. But we'll just kind of highlight some folks. They had a stacked pro class. And guys, I would love to talk about each individual person in all of these competitions, but my God, there was just a lot of folks out in September. That is when you got to show up for the championship. So, real quick, Graham Hawthorne was the pro man that won the class. There was a stack class there. Can't give those guys a shout out enough. It looked like a heavyweight fight. It was kind of a slugfest. Everything was within a few feet or inches. So definitely anybody could have probably took that. I got to give a big shout out to the pro women. Again, that was probably even more stacked than anything else, in my opinion. But somebody that's going to be on our show, the very next episode dropping October 15th, you are going to hear from the first place pro woman, Kendra Danzer, who took first place. She is an amazing person, great spirit, awesome competitor, fantastic stuff. You'll hear we've already shot the interview with her, so you guys are going to be hearing an amazing a conversation that I get to have with her later this month. You actually will probably hear us talk about her husband, Willie Dancer, and he took first in the Masters men. So what a power couple, man! Both of them podium, hitting the podium. We'll just go there with it. Taking first. What an elite household, right? And then, of course, you have your amateur men. Mr. Paul Kalajamanan is, I believe, how you say that. Amateur woman was Alyssa Epson, and it just kind of keeps going from there. Miss Elizabeth Warner, they call her Libby. She won the women's masters, and the Blue Ridge Championship. For the actual championship, the men was Rhett Rutherford, and the women was Rachel Cornish. So, man, flowers for all you men and women out there just kicking tail, throwing the heavyweights, and just representing the culture and the championship. This is where, again, I want to get out to those shows, or excuse me, to those events so we can start adding the video of these. The numbers don't lie. A lot of places where I used to get my numbers was NASGA. Obviously, that site is just not what it used to be. So I have been using heavyathlete.com. You can go over there and look at all these numbers and see how close some of these competitions actually were. And really get a feel for what it takes to be an elite athlete in this sport. I know guys that work out all year round, and they still don't make the podium. And it's not because of lack of effort. It's just because how technical this sport really gets. So again, shout out to everybody that went to Woodridge. I can't wait. I'm hoping to make a trip out there next year. I don't believe it's been announced if they are going to do a third one next year. But I would just highly suggest anybody and everybody that can get to Livingston, Virginia, in September. It's got to be beautiful there, right? To go out and check this out. I believe it's a beautiful facility. I want to say it's a distillery or a winery that's also there. So it's got to be a fantastic time. This is going to lead us into one of the biggest for us, the Celtic Classic. This right here kind of sets the standard. It is an invite-only show, and I have the three names that we're going to talk about that took third, second, and first. And each one of these individuals is somebody that I hope will come on the show so we can pick their brain a little bit just about how they are as an athlete, learn a little bit more about them. Third place was Eric for sure. Second place was Aaron Castle. And your champion for the Celtic Classic, it's Kyle Lyle. I may not be saying his name, but this kid, I follow him on every social media platform. The videos he produces are great, entertaining, and fun. But just his level of competition, his level of competing is next level. He is physically just a beast, and he makes it look easy. So, guys, get out there. Make sure you're going and following these people. Make sure you're sharing their videos. The only way we can grow is if we are continuing to support all the athletes in these games. You don't have to be best friends with them. There's athletes on this show that I probably don't align with mentally or spiritually or politically or anything like that, any kind of divisive action that you could think. But I still love their ability to overcome and to get out there and to throw. So, whatever we can do to make sure that we're continuing to grow the sport, let's make sure we get out there and do that. Now, I know I've talked about three big ones already. The fourth one, of course, is coming up from probably one of my favorite ADs in the game. I have not thrown at one of his games. I have not visited one of his games, but his interaction with the athletes, his opinions are varied, and we are going to start running polls just to see and so we can get feedback. But the North Georgia Highland Games ran by Danny Webster. This guy is just a force to be reckoned with. COVID did a lot of bad for the economy, for people in general, for the games. It killed a lot of games. But if there was a silver lining, if there was a diamond in the rough, it has to be Danny Webster. Because this man has just put a large part of the community on his back, and he is continuing to grow year after year, adding games, adding days. I believe, and I'm not going to quote the game because I can't remember which game it was talking about, but just within the last 24, 48 hours, he released next year's game, and it's going to be a 2-day game. That's amazing. That's amazing. So that's what we're talking about here. North Georgia, it happened back on September 27th down in Clayton, Georgia. They have just some amazing lineups. Shout out to the pro women. Adrian Wilson took first. What a stud. What a just amazing pro athlete that we have in the community there. Second was Miss Kindred Anzer. Just throwing that out there because she's coming up on the show. She's got another honorable mention there. So we've already mentioned her and her husband twice. We will be bringing up information about the Holiday Highlander soon, which is their organization. Amateur women with Sarah Reed. Her name pops up all over. I hear she's a very nice individual. I heard she's super competitive, and I can't wait to actually meet her and see if she'll come on the show for us as well. Another awesome individual, lightweight amateur for the men was Shane Sutherland, took first. Masters men from 40 to 49 was Matthew Patterson. 50 to 59 was Jason Dunn. 60 plus was Jason Owen. And your A class was Jonathan Wayrich. So awesome stuff there. Now, something I want to bring up about North Georgia that I love, and I know there's not enough of these athletes to have this at every game, but the adaptive standing or just the adaptive classes that they're adding. Now, this one was like a lower limb loss for men, and they had multiple people showing up for this class, and I cannot tell you how motivating, how inspiring that is. If you have ever needed a reason to get the heck up off the couch and get your butt in the gym and to start getting some kind of progress made, you got to go watch these guys. Mr. Josh Watkins took first, Matt Hall took second, Cameron Hayes came in third, but these men are missing limbs and they are still out there trying to master a strength sport. If that's not motivation enough, if that's not moving enough for you to get up, I don't know what's going to get you up. I definitely want to give a quick shout out to one of my TikTok friends that I follow on TikTok in another adaptive class, and I'm not sure what was his adaptive class. I don't remember, but it was another adaptive class, and there wasn't three individuals in there. So if there's not three people in a class, we don't really talk about it. It just kind of keeps us a little bit too busy to do that. But Peter, he went out there. He was kicking butt. He, I know, is a big fan of the Kilted Patriot. I believe they're the ones that sponsored him to get down there. So Peter, man, good for you, kicking butt, getting out there, doing everything that you need to do to stay busy, man. That is freaking awesome. I'm so proud to even like say that I'm friends with you guys on social media because of everything that you guys are doing. So again, shout out to everybody at North Georgia. Can't wait to see what you guys produce next year. And then of course out in Washington, kicking over to the West Coast, man. They had the Pioneer Highland Games. Again, I can't go over all these because some people didn't upload their scores into into heavy athletes. So I'm kind of flying blind there, and that's okay. But I just wanted to let you guys know, obviously, September was packed from coast to coast, from east to west, from north to south. There was something going on. Because right, same day in New York, Thistle Day, Highland Games, and the New York State Championship were going on. I don't have any numbers for that either. Now, down in San Janico, down in LaPorte, Texas, there was the battle that happened there. That, again, fantastic time. It looks like they had some stacked classes. Now, there was only two pros there, but Christian took the pro men. Excuse me. I should edit that out, but I'm probably going to leave it just for time constraints. But again, they only had two there, but the rest of their classes were super stacked. If you are looking at their classes, Jacob, oh my God, I don't want to kill these names. I am doing you guys a disservice because I just am gonna wing it. Come to these names. So, um, Jacob Wachendorf took first. Had some impressive numbers. Got some really good points there for the craft there. Amateur women was also stacked. You know, when you're putting over five people in a class, to me that's a big fat class. In Florida, you'll see up to 15 people. Where I'm at in um, the Louisville metro area, I would guess you'd say Louisville, Kentucky, Southern Indiana. I don't ever see a lot of folks in these classes. It's smaller Highland Games than I'm used to coming from Florida because Florida just seemed to be so big and so packed. But we were all semi-retired and didn't have anything to do but have a blast on the weekends. So just a shout out to Cindy Serrano there, amateur women there in Texas taking hers. That don't have too many more that were big fat classes where there was over three. The Masters women though, 40 to 44. Miss Iva Lou, she took first. So again, just giving everybody flowers that we can possibly just shout out and say, hey, great job, fantastic, keep kicking butt, right? Just a recap for the lightweight amateur men, Jonathan Oldu, he took first. That class looked super stacked. Um, when you see, you know, just a couple of inches off on throws being the difference between, you know, first, second, third, fourth, and so on, that just tells me that it's a super competitive area. Lightweight women, Miss Annie Buchanan, she Buchanan throwing team. Heck yeah, way to go, guys. If you guys are in a clan and in a throwing club for your clan, let me know. I would like to talk to you guys, have everybody on and kind of have a roundtable discussion on the clans and the throwers in the clans and how the clans treat you, and you know, is it beneficial for both and how everybody coexists there. I do want to give a quick shout out to Brody Taylor for the A class down there. But again, this is a Highland Games that's super competitive. They had even Masters women 70 plus, right? They didn't have like 5 to 10 people in that, right? But they have athletes showing up at every age range. Most of these are going to have juniors to 70 plus or somewhere in between. And that's how inspiring this stuff is. Just to finish up, just because I don't want to spend more than the 10-minute normal allotted time that I try to do this quick recap in. Shooting over to the middle of the country, Wichita Highland Games. It was a IHGF qualifier in September. Again, had some standout folks. It actually had some pretty stacked classes itself. I know they're lightweight amateur men, which seems to be in Wichita, Kansas, a huge class of 13 throwers. Normally, what I normally see is 4 or 5, maybe 6 or 7. God, please don't make that 6-7 joke. Coaching on a freshman football team, I got to hear it every single day, and that's probably why I just said it. So I apologize. Uh, that is normally what we see, 5 or less in those lightweights. So that was super awesome. The lightweight women was also 5 plus. And just a lot of their masters were super big. But Wichita showed out. Cat Rod took the amateur women's class. For the lightweight amateur men was Chip Sloan. For the lightweight amateur women was Willow, and I am going to mess that up. Gar, I believe is how you say that. My middle name is Wolfgar. I've been called Wolfgard, Wolfgear, all kinds of weird stuff. But so I apologize. I just kind of roll with it when people say mine wrong. So I hope you guys will do the same for me. Again, back over to the women class. Tanisha Kirk took the women's 40 plus. The men's C was pretty big. Andrew Lux took first. Shout out to you, buddy. The juniors had 4 folks in it. Guys, I cannot tell you how excited I am. I want to see more junior classes. And I want to see more adaptive classes. That is what inspires me to get the youth involved and to keep everybody engaged. So no matter what disability or ailment you have, you still feel like the warrior that you are. That's super important to me. But Alex, I'm not going to say your last name. You're a junior. Alex H, good for you. Kudos, buddy. Hope you had a great time. And then, just kind of rounding out the day, your men's A was Nathan Hauser, and your men's B was Wade Arpelt. So that is your roundup, your recap of the top of the podium for September 2025. Now, if you are new to the Highland Games, if you have not been involved very long, anybody that I mentioned is most likely going to have a social media page. Go to it, watch the videos they post, pick their brain, drop a message in the comments. Don't be a creep and DM them just out of the blue, but ask them in the comment of a video or a post. Say, hey, can I reach out to you? I got a question. What cues do you use? What do you do this? Because I have found that these Highland Game athletes are some of the most welcoming individuals out there. That way everybody can, talk to a pro. I just met Kendra through hearing that she was a great athlete from some friends, me just reaching out saying, hey, can I shoot you a message? Can I get you on the show? You seem like an amazing athlete, and it just blossomed into one of my favorite interviews that I've had because she's been able to. She told me not only about her Highland Game stuff, but her personal life and how it blends. And I feel connected to that family because her and Willie are just some amazing people that run an amazing organization, and we'll talk about that more because I don't want to give away too much of the future. So again, guys, there is something for you out there every week. Every week. Just make sure that you guys get out there and follow these folks and start sending me video. If anybody that I mentioned is cool with me using their video, you don't even have to send it to me. Just say, hey, buddy, go ahead and grab it off my TikTok or grab it off my YouTube and use it for your channel. I would love to promote this like a real ESPN show clip, just this segment, not the whole show, where I get to show your best throw from that day. That is exactly what this should be about. So again, we're going to kind of get off that subject and we're going to move right in to our sponsor clip, and then we're going to get into some historical spotlights. Ladies and gentlemen, this show has been brought to you by Andrew Wallace State Farm, serving Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana. You can reach them at 502 449 4300. All right, man, that was awesome. So thank you guys so much for hanging with me through that little short break that we have. Got to pay the bills somehow. That's how I've been paying mine. So reach out to Andrew Mullis. We definitely appreciate him here at the show and in life itself. So just talking about some of the historical connection to the stone put that we do at the Highland Games to the modern Olympics is something that's really near and dear to my heart because I just love the storyline. So long before the roar of stadium crowds and bright lights of the Olympic Games, strength was proven in the Highlands with nothing more than a stone pulled out from the earth. Most likely, the stone was found in a creek, in the glen, and just the bigger one, the kids, well, I can throw this bigger one, right, further than you. And that's kind of how it started. The stone put is just one of those oldest traditions in the Highland Games. At its core, it's super simple. You take a heavy stone, you cradle it in your neck, and you launch it as far as you can. And again, it's, your strength. And your skill will push that further. But behind the simplicity lies centuries of culture and competition. These stones weren't just crafted in factories. Like I said, they were pulled from riverbeds, castle walls, or fields, each one unique to the place that hosted the games. So to throw that stone was to carry the weight of the land itself. Traditionally, there are two forms of the stone put, right? The first is the braemar stone. That is a pure test of power. No run up, no fancy footwork. Just plant your feet and hurl that bad boy as far as you can. The second is the open stone. That's where athletes are free to use technique, whether it's a standing toss, a glide, or even a spin. Does that sound familiar? It's because the open stone is the ancestor of today's modern shot put, right? As Highland traditions spread and athletics grew across Europe in the 18th and the 19th century, the stone put began to evolve. The irregular field stones were replaced by round, standardized iron balls. Distances could now be compared across competitions, and the event entered the world stage, right? So by 1896, the very first modern Olympics included shot put, directly descended from those Highland warriors and villagers who once tested their mettle with whatever stone that laid in the field. From there, technique became the art, right? Standing throws gave way to the glide, a revolutionary approach that added speed and momentum. And then later, inspired by the discus and the open stone style, came the spin, a modern echo of the ancient movement. And yet, if you watch closely, the DNA of the Highland Games is still there. Every spin in a shot put circle today owes a debt to the stone once thrown on Scottish soil. So whether it's a world-class Olympian launching a 16-pound shot or a Highland Games athlete gripping an unshaped stone at the games, both are a part of the same story. A story that begins with strength, tradition, and the timeless challenge of seeing how far you can put the stone. Now, again, like I said, that is one of the greatest stories for me that I love to follow is the history of things. I'm a history nerd, right? So I've said that a million times. So it to me, it comes from something that was more than just a sport. It was a part of life at that time period when either weapons were banned or you were too poor to buy a sword, to buy a dirk, to buy an old rifle or pistol or whatever they may have used in those early times, right? It was them saying, I need to use anything as a tool for self defense. Let me use this to train with. Let me try to build muscle by lifting heavy weights. Let me try to see if I can keep distance between me and my enemy by throwing this weight even further. So it's just a beautiful story that's intertwined with everything that we do. And I can't stress enough of getting to the history of this, and just seeing how they've been blended. Now, the athletes today, again, they don't just throw random stones, right? They throw something that looks more like a cannonball. So the shot put's going to be from 16 to 22 pounds. Um, excuse me, the Highland Games stone is going to try to be consistent between that 16 to 22 pounds. But your shot put in the shot put world, right, is just going to be a 16-pound shot. So it looks like a cannon shot is what it looks like. So that's why you see the differences, but where they came from in the beginning. Um, Again, this is just a slight piece of history. If you guys want to dive deep into history, I would look up the Scottish Clans podcast. That is an awesome podcast over there that kind of goes way more into the, I want to say, professional professor lecture aspect of Highland Games history. Me, I'm more of just a sports fan. I love to compete, and I love the history of where my family came from. Um, I am a card carrying member of Clan Campbell. I love the history there. I know a few of you might have grudges against Clan Campbell. Yes, my last name is Lewis. I was adopted, like I said before, but I'll never lose the name Lewis, but I will always have the blood of a Campbell in me. Now, I held no grudges against anybody. If you hold a grudge, centuries old, man. We can let it go. So, regardless, guys, let's talk about something else. Moving from our little cultural segment to our games coming up. We October, and I'll be glad to recap a little bit more on the 15th. But we have one of the most important games to me because I am in the Masters. I did not get the invite this year. I have not thrown at any games this year because of the injury, but that doesn't mean I'm not keeping an eye out on who I need to watch out for when I jump back into the box and step up to the trig next season because I do plan on coming back and coming back strong. So, the Masters World Championships is being held in Brandon, Mississippi. Your athletic director for this is going to be Danny Webster. They are breaking the mold and changing the game. He is moving this championship to a wing trig, which is I guess it's a mountain. I thought it was more of a molehill myself. I like a wing trig myself. I think it personally as a big guy that moves long legs, it gives me a little bit more throwing room. I could be wrong. I've only thrown on a wing trig once. You know what? We'll drop a poll on. I believe the poll will be on Spotify if you're listening. What do you prefer, a regular standard trig, or do you prefer the wing trig? I think I seem to like the wing trig. Opens up those sector lines a little bit more than what you would normally have. So again, let's drop that poll and see what you guys say. But Danny is just outdoing himself on every single game that he puts together. There are multiple classes with well over 5 in each one. Even the Masters Women 70 plus has three folks at this time. Three plus, I'm going to say, because there could be more coming. Knowing Danny, who knows what that guy has up his sleeve, except a fantastic game. The men's Masters 40 to 44 looks super competitive. Shout out to a lot of these guys: Thor, Willie, Joshua, Eric. There's Josh, Matthew. Again, if you guys want to see this, if you're not familiar with who I'm talking about, you can head over to heavyathlete.com and check those folks out there. All of these folks are listed. The men's 45 to 49 looks like a stat class. The 50 to 54 is fantastic. Again, shout out to Chris Chamberlain. This cat I just found out went through a medical situation, beating cancer multiple times, and is still out there back to back weeks throwing at Highland Games. Dude, what a beast! What an amazing individual and athlete. Good shout out to you, man. Hope you have a great games there. Again, the stacked power couple is going to be here. Willie Danzig is going to be in the men's masters, and let's see. There's his wife, Kendra. Kendra, she's coming on the show. She'll be on the show the 15th. I mean, this is bringing out the most finest folks that you could ask for. I would love to do a round table next year, the kind of the week before, and we can all kind of talk about who we think is going to take first, second, and third, and go from there. I got a few buddies though that I am watching close. I don't know why these guys lost so much weight. I mean, I guess they were kind of smaller to begin with. Like I said, Jason Profogel, he went down to lightweight. I mean, this dude was stacked. He looks like he could lift a Mercedes Benz. But Bronson, from Indiana, this dude's super nice. I met him at the Blue River Highland Games. Um, Bronson Germano, this dude is a beast, man. I'm hoping he has a great game. I've been watching him post his update videos and stuff like that online, and he just looks like he's super ready to go. Can't wait to see the numbers on that. Guys, this is the one that should be live streamed. Danny just said that he is not going to do any video for this whatsoever. He is asking everybody there, the athletes themselves, to do the video. And while I understand, Mr. Danny Webster, if for some reason this is too much for you to do as well, please ask me. I'll be glad to volunteer next year to figure out how to make sure we have video of all this. You, sir, are setting the tone for the events that should be on ESPN. That is my opinion. You can yell at me in the comments later if you don't agree. But Danny Webster is just putting together top-notch competition. I don't want to say like NFL level competition, but again, this is what I see that should be on ESPN. I remember being a kid, in the 90s and seeing Highland Games on ESPN. Was it the Ocho? I don't know. I don't remember. I remember we lived in the country, out in the sticks in Kentucky. We had this big old satellite. And we got like every channel before they started scrambling that stuff. It was wild. It's good times. Good times back in the late 80s, early 90s, I tell you. Excuse me. But that's what I want to see, man. I want to see more classes like this. I want to see more events like this as multi-day and just going, just hanging up huge numbers and promoting the sport. After that, dude, there's the Radford Highlanders Festival. It's another one of those going rogue boys over there. It's probably why he hasn't dropped a podcast. I'm not sour, Jeremy, that you haven't dropped a podcast. You just created such a good environment, a good conversation. You and old Matt, Mr. Matthew McDougall, and I miss it. I miss hearing the show. So get another show out, guy. Tell me what's going on in your world. I'd love to hear. And again, I hope you kept that stash. Absolutely love it. About that, I want to take half point credit on his stash. I told him I think I made a comment one day like, he was clean shaven. I was like, I really pictured you with a mustache. And then like the next time I seen him on Instagram, he had a big old fat trooper stash on. So way to go, buddy. Um, Again, there's going to be some fantastic events coming up in October from coast to coast. Right, you're on the West Coast. This coming weekend, October the 11th. If you're in Seaside Highland Games out in Ventura, California, that's all right. You're on the East Coast. Go to the South Jersey Celtic Festival, right? Columbus, New Jersey. So many things coming up. The Free State Highland Games are in Lawrence, Kansas, Middle America, right there, buddy. Shout out to the Highland Games. I can't even say what they're called. They are in the Netherlands. That even the Netherlands are popping up. Real big shout out to my Razorback friends down there. Arkansas Scottish Festival is coming up October the 18th. Guys, I can't even stress enough. You got to get out to these shows. You got to show up for these athletes. Scream loud and proud so they can throw big, throw far. Right? That's what we want to see. I'd love to touch on how many athletes are going to be at all these events. We have so many games coming up though, that September, that October, before we really get into the cold season, and it just leaves Florida as the only state that's normally throwing. So Springfield, out there in New Berlin, Illinois, they have an opportunity for the Highland Games out there. It looks like Las Vegas may be doing a test backyards games on the 25th. How cool is that? And then Greentop, Missouri, on October 25th. The JWC Greentop Games should be live for you at the end of the month. So, again, if anywhere you are in the country, if you are not within a couple hour drive, you are within a few hour drive, and you should go. You should go travel around the country. It's a great way to go. So, again, go out, check out these games. Make sure you follow these folks. Make sure you subscribe to your local, semi-local, or wherever you may travel to the Highland Games nearest you. Go support these pages. Go support the businesses that are sponsoring these Highland Games. Go support these athletes, and make sure everybody out there is learning something new about the Highland Games. And that, my friend, is exactly my challenge to you, is to get out there, make sure that you invite somebody new. I want you to take somebody that has never been to the Highland Games in the month of October to their first Highland Games. I don't have the budget to offer a ticket for everybody, or I would say, hey, I'm going to fund this. But in the spirit of everything going on, in the spirit of the Kilted Patriot, the spirit of the Holiday Highlander, in the spirit of growing our games together, that is my challenge to anybody that listens to this. And I'm not sure how many folks I have. I haven't really been paying attention to the numbers. The last I looked, though, we were doing pretty good. For me being a nobody in the sport and just being a huge super fan. But I hope that means something to you guys, because it definitely means something to me. So again, that's going to be my closing segment for you, is a challenge for you to get out there and be looking for that poll. What kind of trig do you prefer? Do you prefer a wing trig or a standard trig? I would love to know. But ladies and gentlemen, that means it's my time to kind of scoot out and have a great time. So we love you. We appreciate you. Throw big, throw far, and do whatever you got to do to get out there, represent Scottish heritage.